Good morning. I'm Kristen Folletti, and welcome to News Desk on SiliconANGLE TV for Thursday, May 23rd, 2013. Yesterday, bellwether companies HP and NetApp reported earnings. Computer industry giant HP announced its fiscal year Q2 2013 results, while storage industry specialist NetApp announced its fiscal Q4 2013 and full year results. Joining me now to provide his breaking analysis on the recent reports is Wikibon chief analyst Dave Vellante. Hi, Dave. Good morning. Dave, let's start with HP. HP announced that it had an earnings decline of 31% from a year ago and a 10% revenue decline over that same period. However, stock is up and acting well in pre-market trading. So what's your take as to what's happening?
Well, they beat expectations, so that always helps. And these times it's not about really how much you earn; it's how much you earn relative to what you said you would earn. And HP beat by a little bit. And I think the other thing is that HP is a story of cash flow. HP has been guiding early in the year that it would generate $7.5 billion of free cash flow this year, and it's already generated about $5 billion. So it's front-loaded its cash flow, and so I would expect that the second half cash flow is probably not going to be as high, but I think people are expecting that it actually might be. And then the other thing is Meg Whitman is paying down the debt, and that's critical. When I talked to her at the analyst meeting earlier this year, she said to me that they're not going to do any acquisitions until they pay down the debt. And I talked to her in a private conversation. I said, any acquisitions? She said, well, maybe some tuck-ins, but no big blockbuster acquisitions. And then the other thing is they're laying off people. They're well into their headcount reduction. I think they were targeting almost 30,000 people. They're probably 18,000 through that, and that's having an effect. So, Wall Street likes all that, but HP is a story not of growth; it's a story of transitioning.
Mm-hmm. Yes, based on that note, transition, HP really seems to be focused on restructuring and turnaround. And CEO Meg Whitman talked on the earnings call about a multi-year turnaround that's underway. Tell us about the pieces of HP's business. Where are the challenges and where are things looking up?
Well, obviously the PC business is a challenge. I mean, it's down double digits, big double digits. Dell is really getting aggressive on pricing to maintain market share, and HP's really feeling it in that side of its business, and they're very much exposed to the personal computer business because they're the largest supplier in the world. So that's a big issue. Margins are low, and it's not a good time right now in the PC business for anybody. The big surprise in the quarter was the ISS business, the industry standard server business. That was down, and Meg talked about execution issues and issues in the channel, and I think what you're seeing there is a bit of a transition as well. HP announced Moonshot, which we covered extensively at SiliconANGLE and theCUBE, which is the future of the data center server business, but it's not the now. Industry standard servers, x86 servers are the now, and that business was under pressure, so that's problematic. The other piece in the storage side is EVA. The old storage business is declining rapidly, and a little bit in services is somewhat of a challenge as well, the old EDS business, although there were some bright spots there. Printing was actually better than expected, and more specifically toner. So HP's ink business and toner business is still the gift that keeps on giving, and I think the networking business was up also as well. And then, of course, the big story in the enterprise group was not, in addition to networking, was 3PAR. 3PAR grew at 80% plus, and that's a good story. And then there's some other smaller businesses like StoreOnce, which is growing. But it's really the 3PAR is the one standout, super high growth business in HP. And then the other, of course, is Vertica. There was some bright spots in Vertica overall, even though the software business was basically flat to down.
Dave, what's your specific outlook for HP's enterprise business and your outlook for HP in general?
Well, I've said a number of times here and on theCUBE that HP's got to shrink to grow. It's really not a growth story yet. And in my view, in order to grow, it's got to do two things. One is it has to figure out how to get its organic inventions out of HP Labs into the pipeline, but it's also got to make better acquisitions and do a better job of acquiring companies and integrating them into the massive HP engine. both leveraging its supply chain and its distribution channel. And because of its debt, it's been handcuffed in its ability to do that. And that's a concern. But I think Meg's doing the right thing. I think she's rapidly paying down the debt so that they can make 2014 a growth story. They gotta fix the ISS business, whatever's going on there. They gotta address that, and then the Moonshot ramp, particularly in the hyperscale business, is an opportunity for them, but it's a long-term opportunity. And I think that again, they got to keep riding 3PAR and Store Once and the networking. They got a big converged infrastructure play. They just put Tom Joyce in charge of a new converged systems group, so they're trying to tweak that a little bit. And then the other area again in storage is flash storage. I think that that's something that we'll really be looking for at HP Discover as to what HP's strategy is there to really try to shore up the storage business. And then finally, I think it's a channel play. HP is a company that must get the channel right, and it continues to tweak that model. It's got a lot of partners, and it's got a huge potential there that it really needs to leverage.
Let's discuss NetApp. They're transitioning to a new era of cloud, flash, and converged infrastructure. The company announced a revenue of $6.3 billion for the year, up 2% annually. With NetApp being a pure-play storage company, do you see NetApp's flat growth as indicative of a slowdown in the storage business overall?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, coming out of the recession, storage was booming because during a recession, what people do is they don't buy storage; they try to reclaim wasted space, because we all know there's tons of wasted space out there. And then coming out of the recession, companies like NetApp rocketed and gained significant share. And I think what's happening now is that slingshot effect. And I think that is somewhat industry-wide, but I also think the other factor is you're seeing a transition in storage. No longer is storage a business of here's a box that we're going to invest all this money into and hope there's some money left over for other innovations. I mean, increasingly storage is becoming, hardware is becoming commoditized, and the value is shifting to software and software-led and software